Neither should the theater in our country be regarded as a luxury. It is a necessity because in order to make democracy work, the people must increasingly participate. They can't participate unless they understand, and the theater is one of the great mediums of understanding. Hallie Flanagan, former director of the Federal Theater Project.
Well, theater is such an all-around thing. It involves everything because it imitates life. So any part of life. So like if you, I don't know, any scenario, like if you become a character, you have to be that character. So you have to understand where that character came from. You have to know, like, you just have to know who that person is. And so that's kind of like life. You just kind of go through it, learning who people are and how you deal with situations. And you gain, like, a sort of experience, and you learn the background of things, and in a way you learn how the world works and how life works and how it is. And then obviously you perform, but from that performance, everything sticks with you. So when you get off that stage, you, or at least I reflect, and I realize that I carry some of those lessons with me. And so some of those were hurt people. Expectations are platforms for disappointment. Sometimes you only see one side when you're too close, and then you're not that afraid anymore when you take a step back and you look at the whole picture. Planting a seed in something and watching it grow, taking care of yourself, but when you take care of yourself, you also take care of things around you because you're in a healthier space, which then again relates to hurt people. Mm-hmm. So those few things have really stuck with me, at least for my first semester of college, and will most likely stick with me for my entire life. I still bring some of that up in conversations because I just think it's important. And so,
take me to my money, please.
Got you.
what street?
What street?
Mm-hmm.
What street?
Man,
You've been my driver for 20 years.
you have 30 places. Which street?
You messing up, man. You messing up.
Roscoe,
man.
tell him what it is.
Don't
Tell him
test
what
my
it is, Roscoe.
patience. Let me stop shuffling these cards. See what happens.
Yo, who is this guy?
You don't know?
Why is he so quiet?
Roscoe don't like the quiet.
Theater has a lot of elements to it that make it unique to other professions. Even with just performing, there's different types. Like with film, there's already different elements that are necessary to succeed. And there's a level of separation with theater, and you can make your situation as real or as imaginary as possible, and then still have that option to leave when it makes you uncomfortable. But also being uncomfortable is a part of telling a story, of sharing a moment with another person in a scene, regardless if it's improv or like character work or whatever it is. Like, you're always bonding with whoever you're working with, for, and who you're portraying. And being able to have the freedom to step into that person or situation and then also be able to leave is really comforting and secure. There's an escape, but also some stress to it, as is like everything. But theater gives you chances to learn about the situation that you're in and the people, different types of people, and how they would react to being in that situation. You just learn a lot about the mind and behavior. All right, ladies.
Don't worry about the car.
Today, we're going on a run. Go ahead and get my supplies out of the back, and we're gonna go on a little bit of a hike.
Out the back, leave the car.
What did I say? What did I say?
Just crawl.
Just thank you.
Listen.
I think we can let
Oh,
them back.
that's small.
Yeah.
You're right. I got it. Oh.
What you said you needed?
What did I need?
Yeah, what you need out the back?
I'm unprofessional.
You want what?
I don't want to be involved in that.
What you need out the back?
Oh my God. I think she means this.
Now, can you take care of our company in the back, please?
Come.
In the thank you.
Don't say a word.
We don't do too well with snitches now, do we, ladies?
No, we do not.
So you know where we're gonna take you? Down memory lane, shall we? Well, let's go, ladies. One more stop. Over the cliff.
You deserve it.
I mean, ever since I was 4 years old, like I was doing like illustrated messages in the church, which is still theater. It's just with a spiritual principle, you know what I'm saying? And did like Daughters and Sons of Judah, which was the praise team. But in school, it was like, you know, you weren't allowed to really like do anything other than sports, so you were seen as weird. And so even though I wanted to do it, which was, I guess, on the internal side, like I wanted to really express my creativity when it came to music and just the arts in general, like it wasn't, they didn't give you the time of day, you know what I'm saying? And so the internal battle was, okay, well, do I want to please others and it will give me some gratification, or do I want to please myself and end up still taking some stripes because people might, you know, not like me? I might lose a whole lot of friends. You hear noise, it's like, oh, are they cool with it, or are they just like, are they hyping me up, or are they just making fun of me? And so then that just, the physical battle, like the external battle, just makes the internal battle stronger and vice versa. Because if you're upset on the inside, you won't perform like you should. And if you're performing like you should, but you're hearing stuff contrary to how you feel, it'll make your mental breakdown. So like, it's like that, those two things, they're like it's tag team, they jump in you every time, and that's the biggest thing about theater. It's like, should I do this and risk the chance of being broke my whole life? Or should I do this to where it makes me happy? Like, you can't really escape either, or you're gonna have both of them coming at you at all times. You have to value yourself enough to get to know yourself. I'm not saying like, I get everybody's at their own point in their journey, like it's a hard thing to love yourself because nobody knows your flaws like you do. But you have to get to a point to where it's like, even if I'm not like so thrilled about myself at all times, I need to get to know myself. And so like, it's a lot of heartbreak. And if you're not solid mentally, like enough to be like, you know, they were talking down on me, I might have got laughed off stage, but I like the way I like being on stage. I like how being on stage makes me feel, and I value myself enough to where I'm not gonna let what they say keep me from doing it, because I got places to go, you know what I'm saying?
You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Eleanor Roosevelt.
The most important character I've ever played is Lauren Zadek White from Circle Mirror Transformation. And the fun thing about Circle Mirror is that the only shtick to the show is that it's what we do every day in the classroom. It was really cool because there were storylines interwoven throughout the show among the characters and who they were, but it was being told through these rehearsal games. So Lauren was the youngest in the group. She was 17, and she was going into her senior year of high school, and she wanted to be an actress. And it was interesting because I was playing Lauren when I was 16 as a junior in high school. And it was really, really, really jarring throughout the process as I worked with my director on my personal objectives and who she was, to find that I shared more similarities with her than I've ever shared with a character in my life. She wants to be an actress, that's one thing, but also she has anxieties and reservations about it. Anxieties and reservations that mirrored my own. And it was really, really alarming because it felt like I was suddenly being called out for the first time on those anxieties and reservations I have, the fears that I have about making this insanity my career. Coming out of that show, I was more sure than ever that that is what I wanted to do. Circle Mirror was done as a student-directed production at my school. A year later, I got to direct our student-directed production, and it felt very, very much like a full circle moment, especially because by that time, a year later, I knew definitively that I wanted to pursue directing. And so Circle Mirror feels so important to me, specifically Lauren, because I think that was the show that finally solidified theater for me for the rest of my life. You're trying to tell me that I can't take over the world
Yes.
without money?
Yes. They get money to make
Do
money,
you
to make
not
money, to take
remember?
money.
My 3-step plan.
I remember your plan. I remember
I
your plan.
outlined it very specifically.
Yes, you did. You did. But you ain't got no money.
Step 1, hire a henchman.
That's me?
Step 2,
Mm-hmm.
bomb everything.
Yes, but you forgot step 1.5, which is get your money.
Freeze.
Well, I didn't. Hi, I'm Barbie.
Please, I wanted the SpongeBob ice cream. You said I could have it. It's been 5 minutes.
Why do you even? They're bootleg every time we get them. They're ugly. The eyeballs are never on straight.
But
The
it's
gumballs
so
are stale.
yummy.
You're lactose intolerant.
I don't care.
Okay.
The irony of the theater is to strive for perfection, knowing you will never achieve it. There is an audience waiting to be entertained, so our work is never done. Richard Lundeen.
Who's there? It's me, Laura. Come in, Laura. What is it? Are you ill? What is it? Have you committed a murder that you stand out like a fish? Yes, Kate. My God, drunk again. What do you mean by coming here in this state? If you weren't my sister, come on, tell me, what's the matter with you, Laura? It's true. What in God's name is this nonsense? Come, Laura, pull yourself together and drop the exaggeration. What on earth do you mean?
It's true, Kate. I killed a man.
Be quiet. Why come here and tell me this?
Who else should I tell? I don't know what to do. Do I turn myself in or...
When... What?
Last night?
My God. How? Where? You better tell me quietly from the beginning.
See, there's this girl.
Women. It's always women with you. Well,
A Polish girl. There was this mongrel living with her. Or married her or pretended to. He left her with a baby coming and she lost it and nearly starved. She lived with this other fellow for about 2 years and that brute came back and made her go back with him. He used to beat her black and blue and he had left her again when I met her. I've never met a sweeter woman or a truer one, that I swear, but last night when I went to her, he'd come back again. He came for me and I grabbed his ugly throat and then when I let go,
yes.
it's dead, Kate. I never knew until after that she was holding on to help me.
What did you do then?
Sat by it a while,
Then?
dragged it down the street, around the corner, to an archway,
How far?
about 50 yards.
What? Did anyone see?
No,
What did you do then?
went back to her.
What? Why in heaven's name?
She was lonely and scared. So was I, Kate.
Where is this place?
42nd Barrow Street,
And the archway?
corner of Grove Lane.
My God, I saw that in the paper this morning. Here it is. Body of a man found this morning under archway in Glove Lane. From marks about the throat, grave suspicion of foul play or entertained. The body had apparently been robbed. My God, Laura, you saw this in the paper and you dreamed it. Do you understand me? You dreamed it. Did you take anything from the body?
This dropped out when we were struggling.
Patrick Whalen. Was that his name? Simon's Hotel, Farrier Street, London. No, that makes me... My God, what in God's name made you come here and tell me this? Don't you know I'm within a year of judgeship?
Yes, you ought to know what I must do. I didn't mean to kill him. I love the girl. I love her.
Love.
Yes, love. A million creatures die every day, and not one of them deserve to die like he did. I feel it here. It's a terrible clutch, Kate. I may be no good, but help me if you can. I would never kill a fly if I could help.
Easy. Laura, let's think this out. Did anyone see you go in last night when you first went to her?
No, she lives on the ground floor. I have a key.
Give them to me.
I can't be cut off from her.
What? A girl like that?
Yes, a girl like that.
What else have you that connects you to her?
Nothing.
In your rooms, photographs, letters?
No.
No one saw you go to her?
Nothing.
Nor leave in the morning? You can't be certain.
I am.
You were fortunate. I must have time to think. It's all too unlikely. It's monstrous.
Yes.
This Whalen, was it his first reappearance after an absence?
Yes.
How did he find out where she was?
I don't know.
You say you didn't mean to kill him?
God knows.
That's something.
He hit me. I didn't know I was so strong.
You say she was hanging on to him? That's ugly.
She was scared for me.
Do you mean she loves you?
Yes.
Can a woman like that love?
Holy fuck! You are a brick wall. Why not?
I'm trying to get the truth. If I'm going to help you, then I must know everything. What makes you think she's so fond of you?
Were you never in a woman's arms?
I'm talking of love.
Me too. Have you ever picked up a lost dog off the side of the road? Well, she's that lost dog's love for me, and I for her. We picked each other up. I've never felt for another woman what I feel for her. She saved me.
Why did you choose that archway?
It's the first dark place.
Did he look as though he'd been strangled?
Don't.
Did he look disfigured?
Yes.
Did you look to see if his clothes were marked?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not made of iron like you. Why, if you'd have done it.
You say he was disfigured. Would he be recognizable?
I don't know.
When she lived with him last. Where was that?
In Pimlico, I think?
Not Soho?
No.
How long has she been at this Soho place?
Nearly a year.
Living this life?
Till she met me.
Till she met you. And you honestly believe?
Yes.
What was he? A professional bully? Spending most of his time abroad, I suppose.
I think so.
Can you say if he was known to the police?
I never heard.
Now, listen to me, Laura. When you leave here, go straight home and stay there until I give you leave to go out again. Promise.
I promise.
Is your promise worth anything?
I'm family, aren't I?
Exactly. So if I'm going to help you, you must do as I say. I need time to think this out.
You're so nice to me. You've always been so nice to me. I don't know why.
As it so happens, I'm thinking of myself and our family. I suppose you do realize you've made me an accessory to the fact. Me, sworn to the service of the law, who in a year or two is going to be trying cases like yours. My God, Laura, you've outdone yourself.
I'm scared, Kate.
No, Laura, courage.
Okay, I'll try, Kate.
Don't go out. Don't drink. Don't talk. Pull yourself together.
Don't keep me any longer than you can help, Kate.
No. Courage. Courage. I shall need it.
Hi, my name is Sylvia. I have the U.S. Constitution. I'm learning all my laws and my rights for a court date that I have. People might argue that I did something, but really it was all Jared and Emily's fault. My boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, he cheated on me with a girl named Emily. But in hindsight, the more that I think about it, it was a test. Clearly, it was a test. So one day I was going to my local flower shop to get some flowers and some rosary for the shrine that I keep of him in my room. It's a really cute little thing that we do for each other. He doesn't have one of me, but you know, I think he likes to let me have all the fun. And so I was going to the flower shop. I look in the window, and then I see him with this girl named Emily. I had never met her before. He didn't run this by me. I had no idea this was going on. I followed them home, and you know what I saw? They were undressing. She was putting her grubby little hands all over my man. Sometimes, my temper does kind of take over. In this case, it was very justified, though. I think it was justified. So I walk in, and I do what I had to do. It was the right thing to do. What would you have done in this situation? You see this whore of a girl in there touching your man, doing horrible things to him. I couldn't believe my eyes. And so somehow he called the police, and then the police came over and put me in handcuffs. Anyway, here I am now with a lawsuit against me and a restraining order. So I'm learning my laws. Obviously, he's testing me. He's testing me. It's the ultimate test of our relationship. To see if I would do what it takes to win this court case. It's gotta be a test. There's no way that he would actually... There's no way that he would actually sue me. No. No, I'm not... No, I'm not worried. I'm gonna learn every word to this book. That's why I carry it with me everywhere. And I'm gonna pass the test, and we're gonna be together like we're supposed to be. I'm not worried. I'm Dawn. Stupid towel. I carry it around with me, so it was my dad's. When I was growing up, my dad and I would always watch baking shows together. That was like our thing. Maybe the one thing that he actually took time to bond with me over when I was growing up. Any other time, he was off in some abandoned neighborhood or on the side of the road drinking beer until he passed out. While my mom is at home, slaving away, taking care of our family. For some reason, I still carry this around with me, which is a stupid thing to do because at the end of the day, my dad chose his addiction over our family. He went out one night when he was supposed to be watching me and my brother. He got really drunk and got into an accident. He passed away. I was about 12. My mom was in the hospital at the time, having surgery. The one night that he was supposed to watch us, and he couldn't even do it. and he paid for it with his life. And I know that addiction is more complicated than that, but I just can't wrap my head around how this man could choose to go and get drunk and basically kill himself instead of being here with his family, with his kids, with his wife. I will never understand. When my dad was around and he was sober, it was great. I would come home from school and we would always turn on Chopped. That was our favorite show, Chopped and Cupcake Wars. And then we would pick a dish from the show and we would try and recreate it with either what we had in the pantry or we would run to the store. And then my mom would get home from work and we would eat together as a family, my brother, my mom, my dad, and me. My parents were actually separated for about half a year before the night that he passed. We went over to his apartment to clear out a couple things, and this was one that was in his kitchen, and I just kind of took it. So when I would go and visit him, I just remember I would always see this in the kitchen when we would bake. The kitchen in general is a place where I feel at home and I feel safe and in control, especially when things in life, especially with my family, seemed very much out of my control a lot of the time. And that was also a space when I would be over at his apartment that I knew if he's in here with me and he's using this and we're cooking, he's here. This is him with me. This is the dad that I know. This is the dad that I remember. And I felt safe. I guess I hold on to this just to remind myself of his mistakes. I'm even thinking about going to baking school now because of the little influence that he did have on me when he was sober. He was a good dad. He was a great dad. And, he always told me when I was younger that, if I liked cooking shows so much, I love cooking, that I should be a chef. Ever since then, that's just been what I want to do. And I keep this to remind me of those times and to remind me of who he was. And I get really angry, it just reminds me that that's not who he was at heart. And it also reminds me to never make the mistakes that he did. My name is Joan. I have a bottle of pills. They're not really medicine. I don't need them for a medical condition. I need them more as a reminder. Growing up, I was a pretty heavy kid. That fact has been something that I always struggled with growing up. When my mom was in high school, she was beautiful. She paid her way through college on beauty pageants and swimsuit competitions and things, all of that sort. And so there was just a lot of pressure on me to, live up to that, along with the pressure from everyone else in the entire world to look a certain way, to be admired or to be considered pretty or acceptable by other people. I was trying to tell myself that, it's all in your head and you're fine. But people can be mean. People can be really mean. My freshman year of high school, we were in gym class. We were changing into our gym clothes in the locker room, and we were taking a really long time, and a bunch of the girls decided to make a TikTok in the locker room. I was sitting there, only a bra on and underwear, and they filmed me and they posted it, and everyone at school saw it, and I definitely didn't leave my room for about a week. And just little things like that would happen. It would get to the point where I wouldn't want to leave my house or go out anywhere because I didn't want people to see me. I just felt disgusting all the time. You know, I come home from school, my mom asks me how my day was. I'm like, it's fine. It wasn't. But I didn't really think it was something that I could talk to her about because she wouldn't understand. She was a high school cheerleader. She was prom queen. You know, she would never get it. And one day, I'd had enough of it. It was really hard. These are just sugar pills, but I carry this around with me now as a reminder of that time in my life. And so that way, maybe if there's anyone who feels or has felt that way, whether it be about your weight or whether you're just feeling alone. I know so many people who feel pressures to look.
It was the middle of winter when the broad flakes of snow were falling around that a queen of a country many thousand miles off sat working at her window and said, "Would that my little daughter be as soft as snow with lips red as blood?"
And so the little girl really did grow up. Her demeanor as soft as snow, her cheeks and lips as rosy as blood, and she was called Snowdrop. But this queen died, and the king soon married another wife, who became queen. She was very beautiful, but so vain that she could not bear to think that anyone could be handsomer than she was. As any good fairy tale goes, there is an element of magic. The queen had used this magic long ago to create an enchanted mirror.
Tell me, Glass, tell me true. Of all the ladies in the land, who is fairest? Tell me, who?
Thou art fairest in all the land, my queen.
Soon the king himself died, and over the years Snowdrop grew more and more beautiful and fairer than the queen herself.
Tell me, Glass, tell me true. Of all the ladies in the land, who is fairest? Tell me, who?
Thou queen art fair and beauteous to see, but Snowdrop is far lovelier than thee.
You wanted to see me, your highness.
Take Snow into the wide wood that I may never see her again.
But your majesty, she is only a child.
And bring me her heart in this box.
No.
Do it, or it will be your heart in this box.
As you wish, your majesty.
Thank you for taking me into the woods, kind huntress. It's such a lovely day. My mother said you were to practice archery with me?
Yes. Let's set up the picnic first.
Of course, I'm famished. I made some tarts. I used the last of the apples.
Oh, look! Wild strawberries! Why don't you go pick some and I'll start making sandwiches?
Of course.
I can't do it! I will not hurt you, thou pretty child!
You're going to hurt me?
I'm so sorry! Please forgive me, I'm so sorry!
Why would you do such a thing?
It's the wicked queen. She is a vile and wicked woman. She wanted me to kill you.
Kill me?
She is a vain, hateful woman. She hates you because you are more beautiful than she.
What do I do now?
Run away. Run into the wood and never return. Go! Go!
But...
Go! Wait! Take this. No, go! Go, go, go! Heaven help her, for the beasts of the wood will tear her apart.
Tell me, Glass, tell me true. Of all the ladies in the land, who is fairest? Tell me, who?
Thou queen art fairest in all the land, but over the hills in the greenwood shade, Snowdrop is hiding her head, and she is lovelier, far lovelier than thee.
It can't be. She's still alive?
Well, I do always tell the truth to thee.
Tell me, Mirror, where is she?
She seeks refuge with the heir of a different kingdom at a cottage deep in the dark wood, you see.
Who goes there?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just so hungry. I've been running in the woods for 3 days now, and I mean, it is I, Princess Snowdrop of the Kingdom of Westleton. I seek refuge in your establishment.
Really?
What?
Well, you don't appear as if you were a princess.
What were you expecting? A tiara? An entourage?
Well, yes.
I'm so sorry to disappoint, but I've been running for my life.
And from whom, might I ask?
My stepmother.
Well, I can't be taking in any refugees at the moment. It would draw far too much attention. And from people as powerful as the Queen?
I can hunt. I'm good with a bow and arrow. I can hit a squirrel in the eye every time. I can mend and sew and clean and cook. Please just let me stay here for a while.
Alright, fine. You can stay. I actually just made a pot of hazelnut soup. Come on in.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What am I to call you?
Adam.
Snow.
The queen was very angry and very much frightened, for she knew that the glass always spoke the truth and was sure that she had been betrayed. She could not bear to think that anyone lived who was more beautiful than she. The queen was driven mad. She had decided that when you want a thing done right, one must take it upon themselves. Now, as any good old narrator will tell you, there are many different types of magic in the world. But whatever kind of magic the queen was up to was very dark indeed.
Now that is the last time I've ever taken a strange girl from the woods.
That is the last time I took part in an archery competition. You're pathetic. That or I'm the best.
How did you get so good?
I had 7 older brothers.
Really?
No. I think I became good out of sheer boredom, loneliness. The huntress at the palace taught me. She was my only friend in the world.
I know how you feel. I grew up pretty lonely, so I know how it feels to be alone. I guess that's why I like the woods so much. There's more air to breathe out here than in the palace.
The palace?
Yes, I worked there as a servant for the prince.
Well, despite these circumstances, I'm very glad our paths crossed.
Well, I'd better be off to bed. You won, so I'll be making breakfast for the both of us tomorrow.
The prince, had gone out early the next morning to gather firewood. Snow was just beginning to stir when she heard a voice calling from outside the cottage.
Where's for sale? Where's for sale? Oh, hello. What have you got there?
The finest apples in all the world.
Oh, how wonderful. I'll take all the green ones you have.
Why, the red ones are best for eating, you know.
Well, I wanted to make a few apple tarts for my friend, you see.
The red ones are much sweeter and juicier.
But
I'll tell you what. Why don't you just try a red one? It can't hurt. I promise it will be the best apple you've ever eaten. Here, I'll take one as well.
Well, if you say so.
Hello, Snow? Are you out here? Oh my God, Snow. Snow! Please be okay, please be okay. Ow! Your skin is like ice. Yet your heart still beats. How could that be? Magic. This must be the work of magic.
It was magic indeed, for Snowdrop's mother was also very well versed in magic. Before she died, she had placed a powerful protective spell on little Snowdrop so that no curse may harm her, but instead she shall fall into a deep, death-like sleep until the first snowfall of winter.
Hello?
Who are you?
I'm nobody. Is something wrong?
Yes, something is indeed very, very wrong.
Can I help?
So, I met this girl, and...
I don't think I can help.
No, it's not a romantic matter if that's what you're concerned about. You see, I met this girl here in the woods. The last place you would expect to find another soul, let alone someone so charming and full of life. And well, anyways, I had to go away for a little while, and I came back, and I found her on the ground, collapsed. And I thought she might have been cursed because her heart still beats, yet her skin is as cold as ice.
Can you take me to her? Oh, Snow, what has she done to you?
Wait, you know her?
Yes, and I know who did this.
The Queen.
Yes, I knew something like this would happen. I should have followed her. Thank you for taking care of her.
We took care of each other.
You love her, don't you?
Hopelessly.
There's an end to all thy beauty. Tell me, Glass, tell me true, of all the ladies in the land, who is fairest? Tell me who.
You, old queen, are fair, 'tis true, but the young future queen is 1,000 times lovelier than you.
Young queen. No! No!
The curse is lifted with fresh fallen snow and ancient magic from long ago.
Look, she's waking.
Snowdrop lives and soon she will rule. All along you were the fool.
Snow? Snow!
Snow?
Obsessed with beauty and so vain, it drove you quite insane.
No!
Fairness fades with time, it's true. Your evil heart will be the death of you.
Adam?
I thought I'd lost you.
I thought I lost you too. Huntress?
I thought I'd never see you again.
Please, my dear Snowdrop, come and live with me at my palace. I can keep you safe from all the evil that you've endured.
I knew it.
What?
I knew who you were all along.
So you really live in a palace?
Well, I am the prince of the kingdom of Dorian.
You don't really look like a prince, though.
And so, like all good fairy tales, this one comes to an end, and a very good one at that. Predictable? Possibly. But trite? Certainly not. For grace often favors those with a kind heart, and Snowdrop had one of the best.
The prince also knew this, and they went on to have many adventures together, and they lived happily ever after.
The being finished speaking and fixed his looks upon me in the expectation of a reply. But I was bewildered, perplexed, and unable to arrange my ideas sufficiently to understand the full extent of his proposition. He continued,
You must create a female for me, with whom I can live in the interchange of those sympathies necessary for my being. This you alone can do, and I demand it of you as a right, which you must not refuse to concede.
The latter part of his tale had kindled anew in me the anger that had died away while he narrated his peaceful life among the cottagers. And as he said this, I could no longer suppress the rage that burned within me.
I do refuse it, and no torture shall ever extort consent from me. You may make me the most miserable of men, but you shall never make me base in my own eyes.
Shall I create another like yourself, whose joint wickedness might desolate the world? Be gone! I have answered you. You may torture me, but I will never consent.
You are in the wrong, and instead of threatening, I am content to reason with you. I am malicious because I am miserable. Am I not shunned and hated by all mankind? You, my creator, would tear me to pieces in triumph. Remember that, and tell me why I should pity man more than he pities me. You would not call it murder if you could precipitate me into one of those ice rifts and destroy my frame, the work of your own hands. Shall I respect man when he condemns me? Let him live with me in the interchange of kindness, and instead of injury, I would bestow upon him every benefit, with tears of gratitude at his acceptance. But that cannot be. I will revenge my injuries. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear, and chiefly towards you, my archenemy, because my creator, do I swear, inextinguishable hatred. Have a care. I will work at your destruction, nor finish until I desolate your hearts, so that you shall curse the hour of your birth.
A fiendish rage animated him as he said this. His face was wrinkled into contortions too horrible for human eyes to behold. But presently, he calmed himself and proceeded.
I intended to reason. This passion is detrimental to me, for you do not reflect that you are the cause of its excess. If any being felt emotions of benevolence towards me, I would return them 100, and in 100-fold, for that one creature's sake. I would make peace with the whole kind. But I now indulge in dreams of bliss that cannot be realized. What I ask of you is reasonable and moderate. I demand a creature of another sex, but as hideous as myself. The gratification is small, but it is all I can receive, and it shall content me. It is true, we shall be monsters cut off from all of the world, but on that account we shall be more attached to one another. Our lives will not be happy, but they will be harmless and free from the misery I feel now. Oh, my Creator, make me happy. Let me feel gratitude towards you for one benefit. Let me see that I excite the sympathy of some existing thing. Do not deny me my request.
I was moved. I shuddered when I thought of the possible consequences of my consent, but I felt that there was some justice to his argument. His tale and the feelings he now expressed proved him to be a creature of fine sensations, and did I not,
as my maker,
owe him all the portion of happiness that it was in my power to bestow?
If you consent, neither you nor any other human being shall ever see us again. I will go to the vast wilds of South America. My food is not that of man. I do not destroy the lamb and the kid to glut my appetite. Acorns and berries provide me sufficient nourishment. My companion will be of the same nature as myself and will be content with the same fare. We shall make our bed of dried leaves. The sun will shine on us as on man and will ripen our food. The picture I present to you is peaceful and human, and you must feel you can only deny it in the wantonness of power and cruelty. Pitiless as you've been towards me, I now see compassion in your eyes. Let me seize the favorable moment and persuade you to promise what I so ardently desire.
How can you, who long for the love and sympathy of man, persevere in this exile? You will return and again seek their kindness, and you will meet with their detestations. Your evil passions will be renewed, and you will then have a companion to aid you in the task of destruction. This may not be. Cease to argue the point, for I cannot consent.
How inconstant are your feelings? But a moment ago you were moved by my representations, and why do you again harden yourself to my complaints? I swear to you, by the earth which I inhabit and by you who made me, that with the companion you bestow I shall quit the neighborhood of man and dwell, as it may chance, in the most savage of places. My evil passions will have fled, for I shall meet with sympathy. My life will flow quietly away, and in my dying moments, I shall not curse my Maker.
I compassionated him, and sometimes felt a wish to console him. But when I looked upon him, when I saw the filthy mass that moved and talked, my heart sickened. My feelings were altered to those of horror and hatred. I tried to stifle these sensations. I thought that as I could not sympathize with him, I had no right to withhold from him the small portion of happiness which was yet in my power to bestow.
You swear to be harmless, but have you not already shown a degree of malice that should reasonably make me distrust you? May not even this be a feint that will increase your triumph by affording a wider scope for your revenge?
How is this? I must not be trifled with, and I demand an answer. If I have no ties and no affections, hatred and vice must be my portion. The love of another will destroy the cause of my crimes, and I shall become a thing of whose existence everyone will be ignorant. My vices are the children of a forced solitude that I abhor, and my virtues shall necessarily arise when I live in communion with an equal. I shall feel the affection of a sensitive being and become linked to the chain of existence and events from which I am now excluded.
I paused some time to reflect on all he had related and the various arguments which he had employed. I thought of the promise of virtues which he had displayed. His power and threats were not omitted in my calculations. A creature who could exist in the ice caves of the glaciers and hide himself from pursuit among the ridges of inaccessible precipices was a being possessing faculties that it would be vain to cope with. After a long pause of reflection, I concluded that the justice due both to him and to my fellow creatures demanded of me that I should comply with his request.
I consent to your demand. On your solemn oath to quit Europe forever and every other place in the neighborhood of man, as soon as I shall deliver into your hands a female who will accompany you in your exile.
I swear to you, by the sun, and by the blue sky of heaven, and by the fire of love that burns my heart, that if you grant my prayer, as long as they exist, you shall never behold me again. Depart to your home and commence your labors. I shall watch their progress with unutterable anxiety. And fear not, but for when you are ready, I shall appear.
Saying this, he suddenly quitted me, fearful perhaps of any change in my sentiments. I saw him descend the mountain with greater speed than the flight of an eagle, and quickly lost among the undulations of the sea of ice. I knew that I ought to hasten my descent towards the valley, but my heart was heavy, and my steps slow.
Stars, and clouds, and winds, ye are all about to mock me. If ye really pity me, crush sensation, and memory, let me become as naught. But if not, then depart. Depart and leave me in darkness.
I don't understand.
What don't you understand?
What was it he said?
You don't understand what he said?
No, I understand what it was. It's just, how could he say that?
Because he's an asshole?
No, assholes don't fuck with reality like
Some
that.
assholes do.
But what did he say?
I told you.
Tell me again.
You know what he said. What does it matter?
It matters to me.
Why?
Please?
That conversation never took place.
That conversation never took place? How could he say that?
I don't know, because he's an asshole.
But he wasn't part of the conversation, right? The conversation was between you and the guy who was here last week, right? So how can he say the conversation never took place? He has no right saying that. He can't know. It wasn't his conversation. He wasn't there. He wasn't there, right?
He wasn't there.
Not that that really matters, because he's saying that the conversation never took place. Ever. You guys never, ever had the conversation, even outside of his presence or knowledge. That conversation never actually happened. That's what he's saying.
I know.
Where did he come up with that?
I have no idea.
It's incredible.
Well, I do have an idea. I told you, he's an
But
asshole.
think about it. This asshole feels like he can issue a proclamation and erase the existence of an entire conversation. That's not part of his job description.
I guess he's just that way.
And that makes it all right?
No, that makes him, exactly, who he is, and there's nothing I can do about the kind of person he chooses to be.
Well, I would be furious.
I've moved past it.
I wouldn't be able to. My anger would keep me rooted. That conversation never took place. It wasn't his conversation.
It wasn't your conversation either.
But I'm not telling you, it never took place.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. How long have you been coming here trying to... This guy is obviously some kind of megalomaniac who likes to pull people's rugs of reality right out from under them. His world is the world, and if he says it, it's so. Oh, I know people like this guy. I've dated people like this guy. This is a dangerous guy, and we can't let him get away with it.
It's almost over. How about I just stay out of it?
It's not that easy. That conversation never happened. That night never took place. I never did that. You don't feel that way.
It actually is that easy. Or almost that easy. It's out of his hands now, so we move on. We'll get the approval. Everything will go through. So even if I run into him again, he doesn't matter.
He doesn't matter, or it doesn't matter?
What?
Because it's two different things.
The validation is what matters. The stamp, the seal, the acknowledgement.
The permission?
Yes, and he doesn't matter. The conversation doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. That's done.
The conversation doesn't matter?
What?
You said the conversation doesn't matter.
Right, none of it matters.
Which conversation? What? Which conversation doesn't matter?
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm asking you. Which doesn't matter? The initial conversation with that other guy that supposedly never took place, or the conversation today with our would-be godhead in which he denied the occurrence of said conversation?
Oh, Jesus, it's late. Are you hungry? I'm hungry.
The reason I ask is because I don't think you really give yourself enough credit. Your experiences, your feelings, yourself.
Do you want a cappuccino or something? Is there a machine somewhere?
I worry about you. The fact that you let this guy dictate what did and didn't happen in your life, even here, is very disturbing to me. And then to say, it doesn't matter, it's over, I've moved past it. How can you move past something if it never even happened? That's of great concern.
How long has it been since... Did we even have lunch?
Are you listening here? I'm telling you that this is not right. Something is not right, and as such cannot be moved past. If indeed it took place. So, you need to take a look at it and ask yourself really hard questions like how and why. And it does matter. It matters a great deal, goddammit.
That last isn't even a question.
How and why are questions. Start with those.
Because you're worried about me, and this all comes out of your great concern.
Yes. Unless he was told the conversation never took place.
What?
Maybe the other guy told him you two never had the conversation. Maybe it was the first guy who denied the whole thing. Maybe that's where all this started.
That is not where this all started.
But if he was lied to, then it makes sense. That conversation never took place.
The conversation did take place.
Oh, I know that, but maybe he didn't know that. And if he was told it never took place, how is he to know it took place?
There were witnesses.
To the conversation?
Yes, there were at least 3-4 people in the room. I know for a fact that Vicky heard the conversation.
But did he ever talk to Vicky?
Of course he talked to Vicky. Vicky was here earlier.
I mean, I know he talked to Vicky, or at least imagine she heard him talk, but I'll bet that she could tell he was an asshole and didn't want anything to do with him. So I'm guessing she was in and out of there, and there wouldn't really be enough time for her to weigh in on that particular conversation. I mean, did she say anything to you?
All right, if that were the case, wouldn't he have just said to me, "What's his bucket?" Said he never said that?
No, remember, it's not the content that's in question, it's the entire exchange.
Right. What?
He would have said, "What's his bucket said?" That conversation
right.
never took.
And okay, here's something else. This wasn't an isolated incident. Because now remembering that the other hideous woman in there with him today said it too. Earlier, after I started this whole thing, this must be like their mantra. How they live, how they get by, how they rationalize their actions. Or non-actions. I actually think I have it from her lips in an email. That conversation never took place.
Those exact words?
Or close, about an entirely different conversation. And you know, she even said it over the phone yet another time.
A third conversation.
Yes, is that insane or what? These people are truly satanic.
Because none of these conversations ever took place.
According to them, unbelievable, isn't it? Don't they know how this makes them look? Their whole operation look? It's crazy and crazy making. God, will I be glad when I'm through with this.
It is difficult when stories don't match up.
What?
There are two sides to every story, and when you've got powerful people
No,
against each other...
these aren't stories. These are facts, things that happened, stuff that was done, conversations that were had.
Took place.
Yes, conversations that took place. What's going on here?
Nothing's going on here.
What are you trying to do?
I'm not trying to do anything. Like I said, like you said, this whole tale is laughable, and I'm just trying to see both sides.
There's no both sides. There's only one side, the side that took place, my side, and let me tell you that despite their desk and forms and come back tomorrows, the only power these people truly have is in their own altered universe, but it's still not anything to laugh at if you're caught up in it. Do you see me laughing? Do you?
Okay, calm down. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you upset. Of course, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry.
I'm sorry.
No. It was me. You said you were done with it, and I dredged it all up again.
I am done with it. It's just so... I shouldn't have lost it. I'm sorry, but these are really horrible people.
I know.
I feel like this has been going on forever, and it takes a lot for me to be able to move past it, you know?
I know.
So it catches me off guard when I sense they're still trying to get their nasty little claws into me.
They are from the worst kind of hell.
But the truth is, they can't touch me. Even if I never get their goddamn validation, I've already left them far, far behind.
Right.
Right.
And Who cares what anyone else says or believes? I mean, you're the one who knows what actually happened.
Right. I know. And Vicky, she knows.
Vicky knows.
And the other witnesses know.
Of course, the other witnesses to the conversations.
Right.
And the other conversations?
The other conversations?
The other conversations. Were there witnesses to the other conversations? The other conversations that never took place? Not that it matters.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one bit.
The Red Death had long devastated the country. No pestilence had ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its avatar and its seal, the madness of the horror of blood. There were sharp pains and sudden dizziness, and the profuse bleeding at the pores with disillusion. The scarlet stains upon the body and especially upon the face of the victim were the pest ban which shut him out from aid and from the sympathy of his fellow men. And the whole seizure progress and termination of the disease were incidents of half an hour. But Prince Prospero was happy and dauntless and sagacious. When his dominions were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends from among the knights and the dames of his court, and with these retired to the deep seclusion of one of his crenellated abbeys. This was an extensive and magnificent structure, the creation of the prince's own eccentric yet august taste. A strong and lofty wall girdled it. The wall had gates of iron. The courtiers had entered, brought furnaces and massy hammers, and welded the bolts. They resolved to leave means neither of ingress nor egress to the sudden impulses of desire or of frenzy from within. The abbey was amply provisioned. With such precautions, the courtiers might bid defiance to contagion. The external world could take care of itself. In the meantime, it was folly to grieve or to think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure. There were buffoons, there were improvisatori, there were ballet dancers, there were musicians, there was beauty, there was wine. All these and security were within. Without was the Red Death. It was toward the close of the 5th or 6th month of his seclusion that the Prince Prospero entertained his 1,000 friends at a masked ball of the most unusual magnificence. It was a voluptuous scene, that masquerade. But first let me tell you of the rooms in which it was held. There were 7. An imperial suite, for example, in blue. The vividly blue were its windows. The second chamber was purple in its ornaments and tapestries, and here the panes were purple. The third was green throughout, and so were the casements. The fourth was furnished and lighted with orange. The fifth with white. The sixth with violet. The 7th apartment was closely shrouded in black velvet tapestries. But in this chamber only, the color of the windows failed to correspond with the decorations. The panes were scarlet, a deep blood color. It was within this apartment that there stood against the western wall a clock of ebony, and when the minute hand made the circuit of the face, and the hour was to be stricken, there came from the brazen lungs of the clock a sound which was so clear and loud and deep and exceedingly musical, but of so peculiar note and emphasis that, at each lapse of an hour, the musicians of the orchestra were constrained to pause momentarily in their performance, to hearken to the sound, and thus the waltzers perforce ceased their evolutions. And there was a brief disconcert of the whole gay company, and while the chimes of the clock yet rang, it was observed that the giddiest grew pale. But when the echoes had fully ceased, a light laughter at once pervaded the assembly. The musicians looked at each other and smiled as if at their own nervousness and folly, and made whispering vows each to the other that the next chiming of the clock should produce in them no similar emotion. And then, after the lapse of 60 minutes, which embraced 3,600 seconds of time that flies, there came yet another chiming of the clock, and then with the same disconcert and tremulousness and meditation as before. But, in spite of these things, it was a gay and magnificent revel. The tastes of the Duke were particular. There are some who would have even thought him mad. His followers felt he was not. It was necessary to hear and see and touch him to be sure he was not. To and fro in the 7 chambers stalked, in fact, a multitude of dreams. And there the dreams writhed in and about, taking hue from the rooms, and causing the wild music of the orchestra to seem as an echo of their footsteps. And thus, too, it happened. There were many individuals in the crowd who had found leisure to become aware of the presence of a masked figure which had arrested the attention of no single individual before. And the rumor of this new presence having spread itself whisperingly around, there arose at length the whole company of buzz, or murmur, of horror and of disgust. When the eyes of Prince Prospero fell on this spectral image, which, with a slow and solemn movement, as if more fully to sustain its role, his brow reddened with rage. "Who dares," he demanded hoarsely of the courtiers who stood near him, "who dares insult us with this blasphemous mockery? Seize her and unmask her, that we may know whom we have to hang at sunrise from the battlements." There were found none who put forth a hand to seize her, so that, unimpeded, she passed within a yard of the prince's person. And while the vast assembly, as with one impulse, shrank from the centers of the room to the walls, she made her way uninterruptedly, but with the same solemn and measured step which had distinguished her from the first, through the blue chamber, to the purple, to the green, through the green to the orange, through this again to the white, ere a decided movement had been made to arrest her. While none followed him on account of a deadly terror that had seized upon all, he bore aloft a drawn dagger and had approached in rapid impetuosity to within 3 or 4 feet of the retreating figure. There was a sharp cry, and the dagger dropped gleaming upon the sable carpet, upon which most instantly afterward fell prostrate in death the Prince Prospero, and darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all.
This house needs all new plumbing.
No, it doesn't.
It needs new everything.
It's fine.
You think it is?
It's a great house.
You've never lived anywhere else.
We're lucky to have this
Well,
house.
everything's falling apart.
It's a little drip. If you can't fix it, say so.
I can fix it.
If you can't fix it without telling me the whole house is falling apart, I'll gladly call Steve.
That'll cost.
The emotional cost of listening to you is very high.
But it's just, this whole place went a long time without any maintenance. It needs a lot.
And how much did you pay for it?
That's not the point.
How much?
That's not what I'm talking about.
You're complaining about a house we got for free.
Hello, everybody. I'm Daisy Sorlot, member of the board of directors here at Lee Street Theater and current president of the Six Pack Play Project and temporary chair of the Six Pack Play Development Committee. God, what a year I've had. Anyway, let's see. Oh, thanks for being here for our 10-minute plays. As you know, we are excited to have you here for our 10-minute plays. Why do we like 10-minute plays? Well, for one thing, they're short.
Daisy, we've already started.
I'm almost finished. We love having you here in our Black Blocks Theater. Don't forget, there's a bar in the back. Visit early and often.
Not during the show.
I don't mind. Enjoy the show, everybody. Woo!
This is gross.
I'd rather call Steve than listen to you.
I'm not saying it's not a good house, but I'm telling you, I've talked to people, including Steve. It needs all new pipes. Your parents didn't take care of this house.
They took great care of this house. I'd rather call a plumber than listen to you.
I'm just stating the facts.
It's the way you say it. It's disrespectful to my parents. Extremely. Greg, I can't listen to this.
It's not disrespectful.
It's most disrespectful.
It's just who they were.
It's not.
Why change them in your head just because they aren't here anymore? It's not bad, it's just the truth. No big deal.
I forgot to tell you, we carefully selected these plays from a pool of entries, like a contest. Some will make you laugh, some will make you cry. Well, they're not supposed to make you cry. We explicitly asked it for comedies, but that doesn't mean they won't make you cry, if you know what I mean. Anyway, our next Lee Street production will be...
Daisy, we're in the middle of the play.
Bite my ass! I'm on the board of directors. You're just an actor. Tickets are selling like hotcakes for our next show, which will be... Wait a minute. This might be our last show of the season. Is this our last show?
Yes.
Last show? Bottoms up! Thanks for being here, everybody. You want some of this?
It's just, they didn't call the plumber when maybe they should have.
Stop it.
It's not them, it's property, that's all.
You're not talking about property. You're talking about my parents. And you're also telling me in that passive way of yours that you're not ready to start a family.
Not ready to start a family?
You know we couldn't afford it if we had house payments.
I don't want house payments. I'm talking about this place, and it needs to be wired. And it needs a roof.
Who's got money for that? What's wrong with you?
Well, I'm telling you what it needs. I mean, it needs, really, it needs new floors.
Floors? They're fine.
They're shot. Look down once in a while and maybe you'll see it. Look right there, right under your feet. Look at those boards.
What's that?
Scratches. The gouges, really.
No, that.
They're gouges. It needs to be refinished.
No, that.
What?
That, out there.
What?
The windows, stupid.
Get up. Look out here.
Oh. No, I can't reach it. Hand me that bottle.
There.
It's a truck.
What's she doing?
How should I know?
Do you know her?
This is boring. You think?
What's she doing?
That's nice.
She's driving away. That's it?
That's it.
Why here?
You're asking me?
Did you get that tag number?
No.
Please take care of my baby. Well, I don't want her baby.
We're not finished yet.
Seems like 10 minutes to me.
We have just a few more lines.
Go on.
Lion.
I don't want her baby.
Oh, right. Neither does she. Neither do I. I mean, what is she, crazy?
Yeah?
Just leaves us right here on the sidewalk and drives off into the sunset?
Pretty sunset.
Yeah, it is really. Sky is like gold.
Like an amber sky. Nice name for a girl, Amber. We could name her Amber.
Woo!
We're not finished yet! Wasn't that my line?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Nice name for a sky. Amber. We could call her baby. I mean girl. Oh, now I'm really off.
Talk to the baby.
That's not what I'm supposed to do!
Do it anyways!
10 minutes. Somebody hit the lights.